Suck petals, evildoers. Welcome to the St. Canard Files, a Darkwing Duck podcast. I'm your host, Will Santana, and
I'm Mike Russo, and I am the supernova at the center of the universe.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
It's good. I'm doing good. It's kind of crazy. We're recording this exactly 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I know it's going to drop after the holiday. And we're just staring down the barrel of Christmas right now, and it's really insane how fast this year went. All things considered, with COVID, I feel like it's only yesterday that we were getting really excited for Disney Plus and planning, our end of the year Darkwing stuff we were going to do, and it's already almost the end of November, and that's crazy.
Yeah, man. I know this episode will air a little after, but man, we just had Dev Ross on our Zoom chat, and this weekend we're getting Susan Silo, man.
Nice to see her come back.
Yeah, man. And you know me, I love me some Neptunia, man. I love me some Neptunia, and I think Tiffany loves Neptunia also. I don't think anybody else is crazy about her, but obviously they all like her,
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that, man. Quick little story, Mike, about what we got going on today with this episode that I could kind of relate to. I'll make it really quick. I went to a high school called Kendrick my freshman year, and it was a pretty rough school, dude. I was always skipping school, always in school suspension, never had my books. It was a bad school, man. It wasn't even safe either, man. Like, I remember one of the students hit the teacher upside the head with a keyboard, man.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, it was bad, but my best friend went to another school called Columbus High School, and it was a magnet school, and I used his address. I don't care if they hear about this now. This is 20 years later.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen now.
Yeah, man, and I used his address, and I gotta tell you, man, going to that school really cleaned up my image, cleaned up my whole act, and I got myself together, man, and I finished school and started, I'm not going to lie and say, I became an A student. That's BS, man. I was still getting C's and B's now, but, the effort was there now,
So you didn't become the people's protector is what you're saying.
But I kind of went through like a nice image look though, but,
yeah.
deep down, I still have that hood, poverty in me, you know what I'm saying, where I can still survive,
You can never exactly escape where you're from. For good or for bad. You're always going to be that person you originally started out as, no matter how much you change.
Yeah. Well, now connecting my life story, Mike, what episode we got today?
Okay, so we are talking about the episode Let's Get Respectable, the one where Goslin gives Darkwing a complete image makeover.
Mike, we kind of go on different paths on this one, huh?
We do, don't we?
Yeah, but that's kind of good that we always don't go the same path either,
We don't usually. The only other time I could think of where we were really divided was on Battle of the Brain Teasers. I feel like this is going to be a similar situation.
It might be, but I don't think it's as bad as Battle. Well, you know what? I don't like.
See, I don't think this one's as good as that one, and you don't think this one's as bad as that one.
Yeah, so oh my God. So I don't know, man. We'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
So don't be surprised, guy, if Mike kind of goes a little more than usual, because I don't want to be the Debbie Downer. But all right, let's go ahead and let's talk a little bit about this episode, Mike. What's our production air date order?
Okay, our air date is Thursday, February 20th, 1992. And it's 60th by production numbers. And so our story editor, this is Tom Minton's last episode. He's about to go on to bigger things over at Warner's, doing Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain and all that amazing stuff. And it's also the third and final episode from writer Bruce Reed Schaefer. The other two episodes he wrote were Film Flam and Darkwing Doubloon. I personally think this is his best of the three.
I'm going to go with Film Flam, dude.
Are you?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going with Film Flam.
Okay. Hey, like you said, we're divided.
Yeah. This might shock you, too. I think I might go Darkwing Doubloon number 2.
Ooh, okay. See, that one I would put as his worst one.
Yeah. I remember you didn't like that one bit. And I was in the middle of that one. I was kind of neutral on Darkwing Doubloon.
So there you go. Well, this is his last episode. This is Tom Minton's last episode. And, my own assumption is that this is happening because at this point, Darkwing was getting to the end of what should have been its production run before, they had to make more episodes to, compensate for the ABC ones. And we're just going to start seeing all these names start leaving the series. We're going to see a lot more episodes written by Doug Langdale and Dev Ross very soon, and a lot more story editing by Tad Stones.
Okay.
So a lot of people are starting to leave the show.
Mm-hmm.
And animation-wise, this is a Disney Japan episode. It's not one of their top-tier ones. It isn't a Tama episode like Dead Duck was.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is Jade, but this is actually, if it's Jade, they really cleaned up their act in comparison to, like, Planet of the Capes.
Mm-hmm.
This one's got some good animation in it, honestly.
Yeah, there's one scene in particular that really stands out to me, man.
There's some good use of shadows, good use of colors. The characters are really well drawn. And there are some cool scenes. Nothing like spectacular, but it's very solid.
Oh, yeah.
It really helps the episode, too.
Yeah, kind of off subject here, Mike. You said February of 92, right?
Yes.
Oh, man, I can't wait till we get to June, because that's when the Dream Team, man, the Olympic USA basketball team. So that's gonna be memories right there for me.
We're not getting to June, because the last episode's aired in May. So you just stick that into the last one we do in May.
Okay. I always got to bring up sports somehow in here.
Yeah, of course. That's your thing.
Yeah, man.
That's your thing, of course. So why don't we get started?
All right, let's get into this plot. We got the trio. They're watching the St. Card tonight, hosted by who, Mike?
Everyone's favorite news reporter, Tom Lockjaw.
Yeah.
It is Scott Bullock. He's back.
Yeah, and who's he bragging about?
Well, he's doing an expose on, like, St. Canard heroes. He's, like, ranking them and everything. And, of course, Darkwing gets excited for a second until he finds out Lockjaw is going on about. Who's he going on about? It's, of course, Gizmo Duck. And it's not Darkwing, it's Drake. He's watching the show as Drake. And he says, I think I'm going to be sick.
Yeah, he's hating bad right now. He's not feeling this at all. He's jealous, man.
No, and this opening scene, the animation here is really great. Like, the lights are off in the house, and they're just illuminated by the TV. And Darkwing's, like, really, like, put out faces are terrific. It's a really strong opening. Even though all they're doing is watching TV, the drawings are really fantastic. Yeah. And at the very, very bottom of the list, Lockjaw finally mentions Darkwing, and the picture he uses is even upside down.
But what does he call him, man? That's so dirty, man.
What does he call him? I missed it.
Oh, Darkworm.
Darkworm Duck. Yeah, he calls him Darkworm Duck.
That's so dirty, man.
Oh, God, that is dirty. And he interviews a bunch of people who hate him. There's an old lady. All these characters I'm going to mention now, they're constantly coming back. Not to get off the plot, but what I like about this episode is, unlike like almost any other episode of Darkwing Duck, St. Canard feels alive. Like most episodes, the city is so vacant. Remember how much we laughed how we have this whole thing with the gorilla in Film Flan in broad daylight and there isn't a single soul on the street? Not this one. It's a very living city. You see the people, you see the thugs, you see the mayor, you see the police and the chief of police. There's a lot going on in this one, and it makes St. Canard feel like a living, breathing city.
Yeah, you see children at the playground, at school. So, yeah, it's a lot going on, man.
Yeah, so he interviews an old lady who's voiced by Billie Hayes. She voiced Grammy Whammy from Double Darkwings. She complains Darkwing ran over his foot. Two little kids who complain that Darkwing scares them and gives them nightmares. And a construction worker who, what is it, he knocked a building out from under him?
Mm-hmm.
And so all these guys, they hate Darkwing, and Darkwing's ego is so bruised right now.
Mm-hmm.
And which makes him very suggestible to Gosalyn's crazy ideas.
Yeah. He wants some respect on his name, and, Gosalyn wants to work on his image.
Yeah, Gosalyn proposes a complete image makeover.
But of course, Drake's going to take the credit for the idea.
Which he always does. And when he goes, no, what I need is a complete image makeover. Gosalyn goes, now why didn't I think of that? Duh. The drawing of Gosalyn when she says that is very funny. And then Drake says, let's get creative.
Yeah, so then we get an entrance, right?
Yeah, we do. And we also, Honker steps into the story now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, we get an entrance because Gosalyn and Honker are trying to figure out what works about Darkwing Duck. He comes in, gets an entrance. It's, I am the pit bull that bites the ankles of crime. He does this very dramatically. And Gosalyn says, everything's wrong. You have no spin. The cape's got to go. The mask has got to go. The smoke's got to go. Everything's got to go. I'll give this episode credit. I think deep down it's trying to make a statement about how constantly polling things and changing things to appease everybody can easily ruin something. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're going through that now with all this cancel culture and everyone wanting to change things to appease everybody. And I'm not saying this is exactly what this episode's trying to do, but I think it's making a statement, know?
Mm-hmm.
But so Gosalyn decides everything's got to go.
Everything.
Everything. What does he look like in his new costume that Gosalyn comes up with?
Oh my God. You don't even want to hear my opinion. He looks so cheesy, man. He had doesn't he look like Storkles a little bit? Like a Hercules?
He looks like a dope. He looks like a dope.
Okay, so Go ahead, Mike.
He's got the ruffles. He has these like the winged things coming off of his helmet. He looks like an idiot. He really does. And Gosalyn even changes his entrance. He has to throw flower petals without smoke bombs, and she's always citing how this is non-threatening. People will respond to this. And I love the run of dialogue here. He's trying to make an entrance. He comes in, and Gosalyn and Honker keep changing his entrance. It goes from
flutter, and it's now no longer at night. It's in the day.
I am the good that flutters in the day. Launchpad likes it.
Yeah, and it's no longer let's get dangerous. What is it?
Let's get respectable. There's our title.
Yeah, there's our title. And then Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say we don't even have the rat catcher anymore. Is that where you're going?
Yeah, that's where I was going. We lost the rat catcher, man. That's my baby, man.
What's it called?
Oh my God, the Swan of Peace.
It looks like they took like a public park swan boat and just threw it over the rat catcher. There's a really big animation mistake that goes by really fast here, but if you look and you'll notice it. The camera cuts to Darkwing sitting in the Swan of Peace. And the background they use is the inside of the Mallard house. Yeah, it's, Disney Japan does usually make mistakes like that, but it happens. So they head off to see what they can do.
Yeah,
try his new image.
Yeah, the first stop is the old lady, right?
Yes.
Yeah, trying to help her cross the street.
Yeah, and Darkwing is a real glutton for punishment in this one. He does help her cross the street, but he gets mowed down by the traffic.
Yeah, he should have put his arms down. That was his fault.
Yeah, that was his fault. At least he didn't hurt the lady.
Yeah. Now, this scene I did laugh. I thought this scene was funny, the next scene when he goes to help the children. Or not help them, but he goes to play with the children.
Yeah, the kids in this scene are those same kids from Ducktales I've mentioned before. Like the same three kids. So they keep reusing the children. Yeah, so why is this funny?
Because he goes play dodgeball, and one of the kids throws the ball, and it goes in his mouth, and it like bounces his head back and forth.
Did you notice the ball got like 3 times the size when it gets stuck in his mouth?
Yeah.
But it's still funny.
It's still funny. And one of the children's voiced by Katie, right?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. I mean, the other one might be Christine. But I know definitely one is Katie. You hear Sonny Gummy right in there.
Yeah.
And the third thing, he tries to help the construction worker. And this is the first time he refers to himself as the people's protector. Because the crane's about to drop. He pushes the guy out of the way and gets creamed with the girders. So he's getting the worst of this.
Yeah. So he gets crushed, and that scene reminds me a lot of Home Improvement when Tim Allen got his wife's car, Jill's.
I remember that. He drops the girder on the car. Ooh.
Yeah. That scene reminds me a lot of that, man.
It does. Actually, good comparison.
Yeah. But his image isn't working yet, Mike. No, it's not kicked into the citizens yet. But then, what a coincidence. What's happening now?
Street thug is trying to steal a woman's purse.
Yeah, we got a purse snatcher.
He looks a bit like a Beagle Boy.
Yeah, he does, man. I was gonna say that. You beat me to it.
He's wearing the mask and everything.
Yeah, but he can't be typical Darkwing. He can't go over there and karate kick him or be violent.
He tries.
Yeah. But then Gosling tells him that that image is gone. He can't do that anymore. So what does he do?
He threatens to tell his mom.
I'm gonna tell your mom.
The thug goes, "My mother." And that works.
It works.
It actually works. Like, it works right away. The thug gives in, kisses his feet, gives the purse back to the lady, and you see the old lady and the kids and the construction worker. They're like, "Yeah, we like this guy now." And now it works.
Yeah. So now the citizens don't fear Darkwing anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah, and then but LP can't figure something out though. He's trying to figure out how's this new image gonna stop the real bad guys. Like, how's it gonna stop a Quacker Jack, a Steelbeak, a Negaduck?
Yeah, I like, this is funny from Terry. They're up in the hideout, and Darkwing uses a new opening. He goes, "I am the gold at the end of the rainbow," and LP goes up to him and goes, "I don't get it, DW." And Darkwing goes, "What? The gold at the end of the rainbow?" And Launchpad goes, "Well, no, I don't get that either." And that's when he mentions, like, how is this gonna work? How is this gonna stop crime?
Yeah.
And Darkwing's weird backwards explanation is, when the thugs buy into this, crimes will just stop. He's so full of himself.
Yeah. And then finally, Mike, I feel like I can really sit down and at least watch the rest of the episode. Who shows up?
Finally, some conflict. Negaduck.
Yeah.
He's back.
He's got the knives.
Yeah, he's throwing knives at Darkwing's picture, and some sort of heart-shaped knife goes right through Darkwing's chest in the picture. Yeah, it's Negaduck. He has his theme song, and he says, he's done a good job building himself up. Now it's my job to knock him down. I don't think this is like the best use of Negaduck, but it's still Negaduck, so it's still fantastic because I love Negaduck. Right or wrong?
Right.
Yeah, because it's Negaduck. You can't go wrong with him. You can't go wrong with him. So the next act starts. Where are they?
They're at the police station.
Yeah, this is the only time we meet the chief of police.
Ever.
You'd think we'd see this guy more often, but he was created just for this episode. I like this guy's design. Like, he's really a good design.
He reminds me of Tuscanini. The way he's drawn, it looks just like Tuscanini, his whole body and everything.
Yeah, he's a somewhat large. He's a dog, but he has that overall look. Did you notice one of the cops looks just like Herb Muddlefoot? Yeah,
I did notice that. The one that was sitting on the desk with his feet up.
Yeah. I like when the scene starts, you hear one of the cops goes, "How's that donut?" Because that's what cops eat. So Darkwing says, let me, guys, take a vacation. I'll take over. And of course they all put on their fishing hats and they leave. So there's no cops now. Darkwing's in charge of St. Canard. What he's always wanted.
Yep. And then he finds out his ratings are higher than Gizmo Duck now.
Yeah, he's web feet and bill above Gizmo Duck, Honker says.
Yeah, and then he gets to his parade and with confetti, and he gets to meet the mayor.
Yeah, and I don't know if I find it funny or annoying. Every crowd scene, you hear this one guy screaming, "We love you, Darkwing," over and over and over in every shot. And I'm so conflicted whether it's funny because they keep repeating it or it's just obnoxious. I can't tell. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he gets his parade. Take it from here, Will.
Yeah, he gets his parade, he meets the mayor, and the mayor gives him the key to the city and tells him he's now honorary mayor of the day.
Yeah, and only time we see the mayor too. You'd think we'd see the mayor of St. Canard more than once.
Yep.
This guy, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's odd to me.
And we seen the mayor already on the new Ducktales.
Yeah, that didn't take long, right?
But then Negaduck's actually really smart. He reminds some crooks, the police are gone, man. The city's open.
You think Negaduck would have got the supervillains together, but I guess street thugs is all he can do on short notice.
Yeah.
Because he's in a trench coat in a back alley. Like, this is a really seedy Negaduck. And there's a bunch of thugs. Here's the thing. I don't know who voiced every character in this episode. There is a voice actor named Michael Laskin in the credits. I don't know who he's voicing. I'm going to assume characters like the mayor or the chief. But since Scott Bullock is in this episode, we know he does other characters. He does the little duck thug and the big thug in the gray shirt. That's definitely Jim Cummings. Because it's that same dumb guy voice he uses for one of the thugs in the Tailspin episodes.
Okay.
You know the thugs, the gorilla and the rhino who hang around with the little alligator thug?
Yep.
Yeah, he does that exact same idiot voice. So he says, yeah, go off and commit some crimes. No one can stop us now.
Yeah. So they go off and they rob the bank first.
This is probably my favorite part, like my favorite just joke in the episode. They rob the bank and they're driving off in a truck. And Darkwing is skipping towards the truck, throwing flower petals. And that's when he says, I am the supernova at the center of the universe. He gets hit by the truck and he says, I am Darkwing Speedbump.
Yeah, he got ran over pretty bad.
They use the supernova line in the Moonvasion DuckTales episode. He goes to say it, and then he gets hit in the face by some newspaper. So they directly reference this episode in that DuckTales show.
So now they go to a jewelry store. Yeah. And
since Launchpad and the kids handle this one themselves, they just get a tow truck and they tow the thug's truck away.
Yeah.
So then we get an ATM, and there's a couple more thugs trying to hack into the ATM. Darkwing shows up to stop them. He's really ineffectual. He's really lucky that Launchpad, Goslin, and Honker are helping him in this episode, because he really can't do anything right. And he gets folded up into a credit card and placed into the ATM. You see him in the monitor, and he says, I am Darkwing Auto Deposit. And money starts flying out of the machine. And Launchpad pops out of the bag that the thugs are carrying, and him and the kids are able to capture them by themselves.
Yep.
And then Darkwing flies out of the machine as a bill.
Yeah.
And Launchpad has to unfold him.
Yeah, and ain't this when the media shows up, though, to interview him?
Yeah, they're doing a press conference from the jail.
Yeah, and but somebody's framing him with this whole media press.
This is my favorite Negaduck scene because he's dressing up as other characters, different reporters, and asking these crazy backwards BS questions that Darkwing can't answer. Like, have you stopped ringing people's doorbells at night? What is he going to say? If he says yes, he's in trouble. If he says no, he's in trouble. And Negaduck is ruining everything for him. And I think the single funniest Negaduck scene in the episode is when he goes, hey, look, babies love me. And the baby in the bassinet starts crying. But then it's Negaduck wearing a bonnet on his head. And he pulls the bonnet off, and he smiles right at the camera in this gigantic grin. It's so funny. So Darkwing's reputation is already getting ruined, and Negaduck manages to snatch the jail cell key.
Yeah, and he lets all the crooks out, man.
For a single shot, you see Negaduck stand there in a diaper.
And his look, though, like, how did it's so funny because, like, his head is the normal size, but they made his body like the size of a baby for real.
Yeah, it really does. And he got this huge pink diaper on, too. And he sends everyone off on a crime spree. So all the crooks are committing crimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the mob comes for Darkwing, Negaduck plants the jail cell key on him.
Yeah.
So that's it. Darkwing notices it's Negaduck.
Yeah, he finally figured it out it was him, but it's kind of too late because now the mayor's back, and the mayor's not happy. He's realized the city has been ruined.
Darkwing gives the key back, and the mayor says, I'm on to you, Darkwing. I'm getting the cops back. You're in trouble.
Yeah, Darkwing's now public enemy number 1, man.
That stinks.
Yeah.
Everything they tried blows up in their face.
Yeah, so Let's Get Respectable is now out of the picture. Who returns?
Darkwing Duck, the real Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
It's funny, he's in the closet and they call back to the joke from the beginning. Launchpad says, maybe it's time for return of the old Darkwing Duck. And Darkwing comes out of the closet and says, no, maybe it's time for the real Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, Drake's always got to get the credit.
And there is the animation in this scene is cool too because there's a storm outside.
Yeah.
And we see some scenes of lightning, outside, and the bushes are, blowing in the wind, and it really sets a great mood. But the shot of Darkwing with the light behind him, like almost in shadow as he marches toward the camera and says, "Let's get dangerous," is really fantastic.
Yeah, it looks really cool, Mike.
And he gets this episode is full of entrances. He says, "I am the scrubbing bubble to criminal scum."
Mm-hmm.
And so then we cut to the jail, the police station. That's where Negaduck is. He has all the loot of St. Canard.
Yeah, it looks like a mountain.
And more great animation. He's casting a shadow on the wall that's really bigger than he is. It makes him look so threatening and imposing, even though he's not that big.
Yeah, there's another shadow scene that's going to come in a few minutes that I really like, too.
Yes, I think I know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you do.
So Negaduck double crosses the thugs. They come in like, can we, what do you want us to do, Negaduck? And Negaduck's not going to share the money with them. But these guys are idiots, so it's really easy to fool them. He's like, let's have a guilty party. We'll hold it in the jail cells. And as the thugs are running out of the room, you hear the really dumb one go, I want a red hat. And they're all in the jail cells because these guys are so stupid. Negaduck runs downstairs, locks them all in, and the little thug goes, does this mean there's no party? And Negaduck goes, no, it just means you're not invited.
And you could tell, like, this is when, like, Jim has really perfected the Negaduck verse. Like, before, it kind of got mixed in, but, like, I think it was, what was the episode? Was it,
Going Nowhere Fast?
I think it was that one where that's where the Negaduck voice, like, it stood, it hit, yeah.
Well, Negaduck has, my favorite Negaduck line in this episode is so understated for him. He's enjoying his loot. And then he hears, I am the terror that flaps in the night. And he looks so defeated. And this is the line. He goes, I knew it couldn't last forever. Just like that. Like, it's such a great subtle line. And I love it from Negaduck. Darkwing comes in, gets another entrance.
This is where I like the shadow after the entrance. Yeah. He
says, I am the muddy shoes that track the linoleum of crime. And that's when Darkwing enters and you see his shadow grow over Negaduck's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, that scene looks really cool, man.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. How does their fight go?
It doesn't go too well. The first they start fighting with the door. Well, the door is the weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah, Negaduck slams the door on Darkwing, and then Darkwing flattens the door on him. Yeah. And then Negaduck lifts up the door and throws it to the ceiling.
Yeah, I do like the moment where Negaduck's under the door, and then Darkwing kind of just jumps on the door. Where do you suppose he went? And Negaduck grabs Darkwing, throws him out into the hallway. And I referenced this a few episodes back. Negaduck goes, you seem to forget how mighty I am. He leaps at him, misses, and falls down the stairs.
Yeah.
That's how he's defeated. Big bad Negaduck falls down the stairs.
And where does he land?
Right in the jail cells. And they hold on a shot of Negaduck getting beaten up.
Mm-hmm.
And what does Darkwing do? I'm sorry, Will.
Oh, he slams the jail cell on him.
Yeah, Negaduck gets the bejesus beaten out of him.
Yeah.
So Darkwing leaves the old costume behind with a note saying that Negaduck was behind it. A couple of cops show up. We
Hmm.
know one of them is Jim. You can so tell just by that Lou Costello voice he's using.
Hmm.
I don't know who voices the other cop though. It probably is Scott Bullock. I don't know. But we do find out in this episode one of the reasons the cops hate Darkwing. Do you remember what it was?
No, I don't.
They hate his hat.
Oh yeah, that's right. They hate his hat. But one of those cops was voiced by Jim, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay.
The one with the higher pitched voice. Yeah. The one who goes, he'll be wearing that stupid hat. That's
Mhm.
Jim. Like you can't
Okay.
mistake that voice. So I love the joke that ends the episode. You can explain it, Will. How does this one end?
The crew leaves DW a gift, man, and it's not a gift he really wanted. They kind of did him dirty, man. You know,
Yeah, he opens his present, and what is it?
it's a Gizmo Duck doll, but dressed up like Darkwing.
It's got the hat and the cape. Otherwise, it's Gizmo Duck.
Yeah, it's definitely
And
Gizmo.
the great animation that started this episode is also what's finishing it. The
Hmm.
drawings are so solid. When Darkwing looks at the camera, not well, Drake really, he looks at the camera and his entire face just droops.
Hmm.
It's really funny. And Launchpad's like, the trophy shop did kind of a rush job. But the ending is cute. Goslin runs up and gives him a hug, and Drake does look proud of himself. It's a really strong drawing to end on. I like this episode. I know you don't, but this isn't my favorite,
Hmm.
but I do really enjoy it when I watch it. And I forget how
Okay.
much I like it until I do watch it.
I think the problem I have with it, Mike, is the slow start. And it's like it's so cheesy, And then like once Negaduck kicks in, that's when I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. And the respectable character kind of starts getting beat up and kind of starts getting manipulated by Negaduck. So I'm okay with it once it hits that 10-minute mark, man. It's that first 10 minutes I really struggle with it.
I mean, if I want to get my negatives out of the way, yeah, the first act is very long and very talky before we get
Hmm.
to Negaduck. I feel like Darkwing's a bit of a wimp. He's so easily changed by the kids. He's so
Yeah.
weak-willed, you know? I feel like he shouldn't be that much of a pushover to have his entire image changed.
Hmm.
Also, when he does change his image, he barely does anything competently. If Launchpad, Goslin, and Honker weren't helping him,
Hmm.
he would be pulverized over and over. It really presents him as not really an effective crime fighter.
Okay.
Those are my negatives. But
All
I
right.
think the jokes, Negaduck, all that stupid Supernova stuff, I do enjoy it. And the animation is very, very strong. It's not top tier, but I do love it, and it really elevates the episode for me. So
Hmm.
all of its positives for me outweigh the negatives. So I'm going to be super generous to this one and give it 3.5 gas gun canisters.
Okay. Um, I'm the opposite, Mike. I do like the animation. I did like some of the jokes. I did like the thugs. Well, once they came in, I like Negaduck. That respectable stuff, though, man. God, it just really drains me on this episode at the beginning. So I'm gonna take it down a notch. I need to go back and see what some of my scores were for some of the episodes I didn't like. So as of right now, I'm gonna stick with a 2 for this one.
Okay,
Yeah. It's
that's
not the
fine.
bottom. I've given 2 episodes really worse scores than that. Not even close to
Yeah.
2. So
No, I know. I
yeah.
know.
So I'm gonna give it a 2. We don't have a villain to rate.
No, this is going to become a common thing for the rest of the series. We're not going to have as many brand new villains to rate in
Mhm.
general, so at least I get used to that.
Well, Mike, we have a little time to kill here, so I'm gonna go way off subject really, really fast.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a movie called Who's the Man?
I've never even heard of it.
Okay, Who's the Man is a movie that it featured Ed Lover and Dr. Dre. You probably don't know who they are. They used to host
I
a show. Yeah,
I
they
know
used to.
Dr. Dre.
Not that Dr. Dre, a different
Well,
Dr.
then I don't
Dre.
know that Dr. Dre.
Yeah,
I
they
didn't
used
know
to
there were
host.
two.
Yeah, they used to host a hip hop show on MTV called Yo MTV Raps,
I
and
knew that, yeah.
okay, well they were the host of that show, and they had their own feature film, and they had like every rapper that was even relevant in the 80s and early 90s in the movie. And there's a scene where their captain is very upset with Dr. Dre because his name is Doctor. And he's like, my brother went to school for 8 years just to call himself Doctor. And you just come in my police station and just say, hey, my name's Dr. Dre. You know, and he gets really mad. And Dr. Dre asks him, can I get a donut? And he says, no, you can't. You don't deserve a donut. And then when Ed Lover comes like, hey, Sarge, can I get a donut? You can have as many donuts as you want.
So this episode reminded you of that?
Yeah, that scene with the donut reminded me of that, man, of that movie.
See, when I see cops and donuts, I go right to The Simpsons, Chief Wiggum.
Okay.
Yeah,
Chief.
I go right to that. Before we go, I want to ask you something.
Go ahead, Mike.
We're recording this on the 1-year anniversary of the Disney Plus launch.
Oh,
what has been your favorite thing about Disney Plus? Like, if you had to name one favorite thing about Disney Plus, what would it be?
I'm gonna name two things. One's Disney Afternoon, and then two, all the old school shows like Boy Meets World and stuff on there.
Good. Okay. Yeah. My number one thing about it is the ability to watch a Disney Afternoon show whenever I want on my phone. Like I've said before, when I take notes for this, I just sit there at the table with my phone out and scanning around the episode. I just love having all the Darkwing episodes at my fingertips like that.
Okay.
And I love that. And I like that, and I love that I don't have to put on Blu-rays anymore. Yeah. I haven't put on a Disney Blu-ray since, except for Frozen 2 when that came out before it dropped on Disney Plus. I haven't put on a Blu-ray from Disney in a year.
What's your one gripe with Disney Plus?
I really wish the Muppet Show was on it.
Okay, the Muppet Show?
The Muppet Show really needs to be on Disney Plus. And I wish the Aladdin series was on there. I hate that some Disney Afternoon episodes aren't there. But I'm really aggravated that the Muppet Show isn't there. I really am.
I know, because you're a big Muppets fan. You and my dad. My dad complains about that too.
Well, I consider the Muppet Show one of the most important TV shows of all time. The fact that it's not there is a real shame.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you?
I think my one gripe is I kind of get it too. I wish they would, they got so much content that they haven't put on there at all, Yeah. And they're slowly doing it. And I get it because like the more you keep adding on, the more subscribers you get. Oh, they finally got the Mighty Ducks. Oh, they finally got such and such,
Right.
So people will finally sign up for it. So you can't give it all at once. So I get that. But it's like they're doing it so slow though, you know?
I know some older movies are tied up in licensing with other streaming services like Netflix, and I know because of the pandemic they can't make new stuff as easily. But man, put some more old shorts on Disney Plus. Put more Donald Duck cartoons. What are they waiting for? There could be more. Like I know some people want to see House of Mouse or the Aladdin show, like I mentioned already. Like why aren't they there?
I have no idea, Mike.
And again, the Muppet Show.
Yeah. You know what? I got a second gripe. I don't know how I didn't think of this one. Oswald. Get Oswald in there.
Yeah, I hear through sources that deep down the people in charge at Disney hate those old cartoons. We're lucky to get what we even have on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But hang on to that Disney treasure set, Will.
Oh, yeah. All right, so Mike, man, what episode of Darkwing we got next, man?
Okay, so we're going to talk about In Like Blunt, the other Disney France episode that got delayed. This one is even earlier than Duck by Any Other Name. You can tell this one was an early one for reasons I won't go into until we talk about it. Okay. It's interesting. It actually is a very interesting episode. So that should be a good record. We'll see you next week for that one.
Okay. Mike, do you no, you know what? We'll wait for next week. I was going to ask you about the episode, but we'll wait for next week.
Yeah,
man.
We'll wait.
Yeah. So, Mike, for the people listening to us for the first time, where can they find us at, man?
Well, you know what? We're on all major podcast apps, I think. Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Amazon, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Radio Public, and Pocket Cast. Also, YouTube. And, of course, on Alexa. Speak into that. It'll play the newest episode for you. And I think that's all of them. As always, there are probably a whole ton more. But we're really accessible, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. My shout outs today is to the 400 people as of today's date, which is November 12th, I think, of our recording. November 12th. We have 400 members for our 1 month anniversary of being on Facebook group, not our podcast page, but our group page. We hit 400 today, Mike.
Good. I'm noticing that more and more Darkwing sites are popping up on Facebook, but join ours first. And both of them, like the podcast page, because that's where a lot of the stuff about the podcast goes up. But also join the fan page too. Join other pages too, but join us first.
So silly, Mike. All right, Mike. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode, man. And I guess everybody stay dangerous.
Yep. Knew it couldn't last forever. Good night.
Good night, everybody.